Sometimes, the most dangerous hackers aren't criminals. They're just desperate people. The lights in the hospital room are dim. The monitor beeps steadily, a weak heartbeat echoing in the quiet. On a folding chair, a young man in a hoodie sits still, his eyes catching the pale glow of his laptop screen. Thousands of lines of code scroll past, reflecting on a face etched with worry. He's not hacking for money, not for fame. He's hacking to keep his mother alive. But every keystroke is a gamble. One mistake, and everything, from his freedom to his life, could vanish. This isn't just a story about cybercrime. It's a story about love, desperation, and the fragile line between right and wrong. When the world turns its back on you, how far would you go to save the person you love most? His name is Ethan, 17 years old, living in a small town in the American Midwest. A place where cold winds sweep through old wooden houses and everyone knows each other by name. He is smart, quiet, and has almost no friends, except for the old computer his father left behind. His mother, Linda, spent her life as a nurse, caring for patients. Now she lies motionless in a hospital bed. A rare blood disease, with treatment so expensive that insurance won't cover it. The doctors told Ethan her chances of survival are less than 10%. That night, he sits alone in his room, the glow of the screen casting pale light across his face. He scours every website, every medical database, hoping to find a new treatment, a clinical trial, anything his mother isn't allowed to access. In Ethan's heart, fear and love are tangled together. When every door is closed, there is only one path left, a path the law forbids. Ethan wasn't the kind of computer genius you see in movies. He was just a kid who learned fast, with an endless curiosity for what hid behind the black screen. Those lines of code, foreign to most, were like music to him. Typing them brought him peace. Only this time, the music carried a melody of desperation. For nights on end, Ethan barely slept. He scoured hidden forums, obscure posts about the structure of national medical databases. He learned how to stay anonymous, how to bypass firewalls, how to use encryption tools only insiders knew. Every lead made his heart race, not with fear, but with hope. A fragile hope that somewhere, in millions of patient records, he might find something to save his mother. Outside, winter was creeping in. The hospital glowed like a lonely ship in the cold night. Linda grew weaker by the day. Every time she tried to smile through the pain, Ethan's chest tightened. Time was running out. That night, past midnight, Ethan made his move. He opened 3 code windows, typing in the sequence to access the National Health Network. On the screen, access denied, firewall active. He took a deep breath, adjusted the code, hands trembling slightly. The keystrokes echoed in the small room, like the heartbeat of someone wagering their entire life. By 3 a.m., after hundreds of attempts, a window appeared. Access granted. Ethan froze. He had done it. He had breached one of the most secure systems in the country. But instead of relief, his hands felt ice cold. In that moment, he realized he had crossed a line he could never uncross. He started searching through the data. He accessed archives of medical trials, secret reports on unapproved drugs. After hours of scanning, he found a drug in trial stages with potential to treat his mother's disease. It wasn't public yet. Only a handful of major hospitals were testing it. He downloaded every document, formula, and sample patient file. Each file encrypted and stored on a separate drive. Sweat poured down his forehead, his eyes red. When the download hit 100%, he let go of the keyboard, leaned back, gasping. The screen reflected the face of a boy, but in those eyes was something different. No longer fear, but awareness mixed with pain. He knew, if caught, he could go to prison. But he also knew, doing nothing would mean his mother had no chance. In the silent room, Ethan whispered to himself, "I'm sorry, Mom. But this is the only way I can save you." The next day, Ethan sent the data anonymously to a group of volunteer doctors working on international medical trials. No one knew who sent it, only a complete package of medical documents that could open a new path for hundreds of patients. Among them, his mother. He didn't need thanks or recognition. For him, giving his mother a chance at life was enough. But what Ethan didn't know was that his actions had already put him on the FBI's radar. They had detected an unusual access point in the system. A tiny trace, but enough to follow. That night, Ethan sat in front of his screen again, watching hundreds of lines of code scroll past. He didn't know what tomorrow would bring. He only knew that in this moment, he had acted according to his heart. An illegal act, but full of humanity. Out there, the world might call him a criminal. But to his mother, Ethan would always be the brave son who dared to defy the system to save a life. That morning, sunlight streamed through the window, hitting the laptop still left open. Ethan had dozed off at the desk, head resting beside the keyboard. A sudden knock on the door made him startle. Before he could react, the door burst open. Men in black coats rushed in. Shouts. Arrest warrants. His hands were pulled behind him, freezing under the steel cuffs. It all happened in seconds, but for Ethan, time seemed to stop. He didn't resist. He just looked back at the framed photo of his mother on the desk. Linda, smiling gently, eyes warm. He wanted to say something, but his throat tightened. All the lines of code, the sleepless nights, now echoed only in the slam of a metal door behind him. News of the arrest spread like wildfire. Teen hacker breaks into national health system. 17-year-old genius or dangerous cybercriminal. TV, social media, newspapers, all eyes turned to one name, Ethan Miller. They called him many things, but few understood the real reason. In court, Ethan stood under dozens of cameras. Hair messy, face still young, eyes tired but resolute. The prosecutor read the charges in a cold voice: unauthorized access to national systems, theft of classified medical data, actions that could threaten national security. When asked why he did it, Ethan looked up, straight at the judge. His voice was quiet but firm: because my mother is dying. I just wanted to save her. The courtroom fell silent. No camera clicks, no coughs. Just the slow thump of a heartbeat in the heavy air. The prosecution said the law cannot bend for emotions. But outside, thousands began to speak up. The hashtag #FreeEthan trended everywhere. People shared his story, calling him the boy hacker with a kind heart. Some wrote letters to the court, some urged leniency. Even doctors confirmed that the data he shared had opened new treatment paths for patients. But justice doesn't always equal mercy. The trial lasted 3 months. Ethan's mother, Linda, lay in her hospital bed, growing weaker each day. Every time a lawyer visited, Ethan asked only one thing: how is my mother? One day, the answer came, short and sharp: she's gone. He froze, neither crying nor speaking. Head bowed, hands trembling. Inside him, everything collapsed. All he had done, every risk, every sleepless night now seemed meaningless. The person he tried to save was gone. On sentencing day, heavy rain fell. Ethan was convicted but received a reduced sentence for humanitarian motives. He was sent to a juvenile detention center for 3 years. As he left the courtroom, reporters crowded around, flashes going off non-stop. Ethan paused, looked straight into the cameras. If I could do it again, he said quietly, I would. Because sometimes, love doesn't wait for the law to give permission. Outside, people stood in the rain, silently watching. No words were spoken, just the sound of raindrops mixing with distant car sirens. Online, Ethan's story became a symbol. Some called him a criminal, others a hero. But those who had lost someone, who had been desperate enough to see only one path, they understood. They understood what it feels like when reason loses to the heart. Months later, an international medical journal published a new study with initial data from an anonymous source. The drug was now approved for trials, offering hope to hundreds of patients with the same illness Ethan's mother had. His name wasn't mentioned, but somewhere in those pages, the shadow of a 17-year-old boy quietly remained. In detention, Ethan often looked up at the sky through the bars. He didn't know what the future held, but he knew that out there, a part of his mother lived on, in every life saved. And maybe, just maybe, that was the freedom he had been searching for all along. One autumn afternoon, after serving his sentence, Ethan returned to the small town where it all began. Golden leaves covered the path, a chilly wind blowing through the old oak trees. The cemetery sat atop a hill to the west, so quiet you could hear the grass sway. He walked slowly, holding a bouquet of white daisies. In front of the headstone that read Linda Miller, Ethan knelt. No tears, just a long, deep silence. He touched the engraved letters, brushing them gently as if his mother were still there. "I'm sorry I couldn't save you," he whispered, voice catching, "but I know you understand." Beside the grave, Ethan opened his old laptop, its screen dimmed by time. He plugged in the hard drive holding all the data he had ever stolen. Hundreds of files appeared, lines of code, reports, evidence of a journey both criminal and full of love. He stared at them for a long moment, then typed the final command: delete. All, one by one, the files vanished, traces dissolving into nothing. When the word completed appeared, Ethan let out a small smile. Not a victorious smile, but a liberated one. He closed the laptop, set it next to the flowers, and sat quietly, watching the sky turn a soft shade of orange. Somewhere in the wind he felt a whisper, as if his mother was there. "You did your best, Ethan." He stood, turning away from the cemetery. His steps felt lighter, his shoulders less heavy. The past was still there, but it no longer chained him. At the foot of the hill, the sunset spilled gold across the long, winding road ahead, long, but full of hope. In that moment, perhaps Ethan understood that true freedom wasn't escaping the walls of a prison. It was learning to forgive yourself. On the fragile line between right and wrong, sometimes people don't choose with reason, but with their hearts. The law exists to protect order, but morality is the quiet voice of conscience. Ethan broke the law, yet in that crime was love, in that mistake was humanity. The world may judge him by rules, but no one can deny the simple truth: every action he took began with one thing: a child's love for their mother. Ethan's story makes us ask ourselves, when the law is too slow to save a life, does compassion have the right to cross the line? Maybe inside each of us lives a silent Ethan, struggling between what we should do and what we must do. And sometimes, the moment we dare to choose compassion is when we touch the best part of ourselves. If this story touched your heart, hit like to support us. And don't forget to subscribe to Sins and Lessons, so you won't miss real stories about crime, humanity, and the deep lessons behind every action. Turn on the notification bell today, because every video gives you a new perspective on a world where law and morality meet.